Thank you very much. I get very garrulous on this topic, so it's lucky I'm only allowed a quarter of an hour. I have just published a collection of poetry which is either in the manner of or inspired by, or that I thought Cavafy might like if he read. I don't know how many of you are acquainted with Constantine Cavafy, but he's possibly the best-loved poet in modern Greece. He lived in Alexandria was born in 1863, died in 1933. He was born in Istanbul, or Constantinople as Greeks like to call it, and he spent about 12 years of his life in Liverpool, of all places. But then his family moved to Alexandria, where they were for a long time successful in business. And Cavafy, for most of his life, had quite a humble job working for the British, and he gambled on the stock exchange in his spare time. And that the British used to let him out sometimes to go and gamble on the stock exchange. He wrote not that many poems. He was very, very perfectionist. Most of his poems, I would say, he never published. And he was writing really for a small coterie of friends. He was an active homosexual, so a great many of his poems are about beautiful young men, all up to their necks in sensual pleasure. And but he was also most fascinated, I think, by the ancient pan-Hellenic culture of the Mediterranean in Roman and Greek times, when everyone around there had Greek as their sort of second language, and Greek culture was the common culture, and how different it is now. He also liked to write poems which are in the form of advice. He sort of was a philosophizer. And really I'm here to read some of his poems to you in the hope that you will be converted and that perhaps further along the line you'll buy my book of little tribute poems. However, if I have the time at the end, I'm going to recite from memory a little poem that I wrote too late to get into my collection. I discovered Cavafy from this volume of poetry which I bought in Athens. The translations are by Kimon Fryer, and I think it always happens that the first translation that you read is the one you love the most. And as it happens, in this collection are most of the poems that I do love the most. This one is called The City, one of his advice poems. You said, I will go to another land. I will go to another sea. Another city shall be found better than this. Each one of my endeavors is condemned by fate. My heart lies buried like a corpse. How long in this disintegration can the mind remain? Wherever I turn my eyes, wherever I gaze, I see here only the black ruins of my life, where I have spent so many years and ruined and wrecked myself. New places you shall never find. You'll not find other seas. The city shall follow you. You'll wander still in the same streets. You'll roam in the same neighborhoods. In these same houses you'll turn gray. You'll always arrive at this same city. Don't hope for somewhere else. No ship for you exists. No road exists. Just as you've ruined your life here, in this small corner of the earth, you've wrecked it now, the whole world through. This is one that every Greek has to learn by heart at school. It has a sort of eternal resonance to it. Waiting for the barbarians. What are we all waiting for, all mustered in the forum? The barbarians are to arrive today. Why is there so little activity within the Senate? Why are the senators sitting around yet passing no laws? Because the barbarians will arrive today. What laws now can the senators possibly pass? When the barbarians come, they'll make the laws. Why has our emperor arisen so early in the morning? And why is he sitting there at the city's greatest gate in state upon his throne? Why is he wearing his crown? Because the barbarians will arrive today, and the emperor is waiting there to receive their leader. Indeed, he has prepared to give him a parchment scroll. Therein he has granted him by writ a very great many names and titles. Why have our 2 consuls and our praetors come out today clad in their scarlet, their embroidered togas? Why are they wearing now their amethyst-studded bracelets and all those splendid rings with their glistening emeralds? Why are they bearing today their precious staves of office inlaid with gold and silver, so exquisitely wrought? Because the barbarians will arrive today, and things of this kind dazzle barbarians. Why haven't our worthy orators come out here as always to spout their speeches at us, to say what they have to say? Because the barbarians will arrive today, and they are bored by eloquence and public speeches. Why suddenly should all this uneasiness begin, and this confusion? How grave now have all faces become? Why are all streets and squares so quickly emptying now? And why is everyone returning home so lost in thought? Because night has fallen, and the barbarians have not come. And a few men who've returned from the frontiers tell us that there are no barbarians anymore. And now, what's to become of us without barbarians? Those people were some sort of a solution. Thank you. I got into Cavafy in a terribly roundabout way. When I was about 28, I went on a holiday in Greece with a lethal Finnish girlfriend who dumped me on the last day. It was a terribly bad holiday. It was in a place in Corfu where the dogs howled all night because of the discos, and there was a mosquito and horsefly problem, and the beach was littered with fag ends and beer cans, and in the next room was a pair of butchers from Glasgow who'd worked out that it was cheaper to come to Greece and be drunk for 2 weeks than it was to stay at home and be drunk for 2 weeks. Anyway, I was so heartbroken by being dumped like this that 2 years later I went back to Greece on my own to sort of face up to my ghosts. And I went to the other side of the island and I made friends with a waiter called Stavros and another one called Nikos. And I just loved the music coming out of the speakers. And they told me it wasn't traditional music, it was modern music written by proper composers like Theodorakis and Hadjidakis. And they were setting to music the lyrics of the very best Greek poets. It was a miracle period in modern Greek culture. And that was really what got me into Greece. It was the music, first of all. And of course, then I got interested in the poetry. Here's one I like. Leonard Cohen nicked a lot of this and made it into a beautiful song called Alexandria Leaving. But it's called The God Forsakes Antony. And it's about how Antony should be feeling when he's lost the Battle of Actium and he's just about to have to fall on his sword. When suddenly at the midnight hour you hear an invisible troop of revelers passing by with exquisite music and with voices, do not then pointlessly lament your luck that now at length runs out, your works that have failed, your life's plans that have all turned out to be delusions. Like one for a long time prepared, like a courageous man, bid her farewell, the Alexandra that is leaving. Above all, do not deceive yourself. Do not say that this was but a dream, that your hearing played you false. Do not condescend to such vain hopes as these. Like one for long prepared, like a courageous man, as befitting one once worthy of such a city, approach the window with unflinching step and listen deeply moved, not with the faint-hearted man's entreaties and complaints, but as a last enjoyment to the sounds, the exquisite instruments of that occult procession, and bid her farewell. The Alexandria you are leaving. Right. I think I'll do the poem that I got in my head in case there isn't time for it. It's called The Old Man. The old man is content. The young are singing his songs, the songs he composed in his far-off, passionate days. The girls bring flowers. The boys shake hands and smile. The old man is content. He is glad they have gone, those far-off, passionate days. He pities the young who are singing his songs. Yeah. This is Cavafy's most famous poem, Ithaca, referring to the voyages of Odysseus trying to get home, obviously. When you set out on the voyage to Ithaca, pray that your journey may be long, full of adventures, full of knowledge. Of the Laestrygones and of the Cyclopes and of furious Poseidon do not be afraid. For such on your journey you never shall meet if your thought remains lofty, if a select emotion imbue your spirit and your body. The Laestrygones and the Cyclopes and furious Poseidon you never will meet unless you drag them with you in your soul, unless your soul raises them up before you. Pray that your journey may be long, and many may those summer mornings be when with what pleasure, what untold delight you enter harbors you've not seen before, that you stop at Phoenician marketplaces and procure the goodly merchandise, mother of pearl and coral, amber and ebony, and voluptuous perfumes of every kind, as lavish an amount of voluptuous perfumes as you can, that you venture on to many Egyptian cities to learn and yet again to learn from the sages. But you must always keep Ithaca in mind. The arrival there is your predestination. Yet do not by any means hasten your voyage. Let it best endure for many years, until grown old at length you anchor at your island, rich with all you have acquired on the way. You never hoped that Ithaca would give you riches. Ithaca has given you the lovely voyage. Without her you would not have ventured on the way. She has nothing more to give you now. Poor though you may find her, Ithaca has not deceived you. Now that you have become so wise, so full of experience, you will have understood the meaning of an Ithaca. Thank you.